Jamal Carter, 36, a long-haul truck driver, returned home to his suburban house on Foster Drive in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The two-story brick home, which he and his wife Tasha bought in 2012, stood still in the oppressive July heat. The neighborhood, known for its neatly kept lawns and stable middle-class families, had recently dealt with a string of break-ins that made everyone uneasy. Tasha, his wife of 12 years, greeted him with an unusually quick hug. At 34, she had recently transitioned from being a stay-at-home mom to a beauty entrepreneur, selling cosmetics online and through local networks. Their daughter, Sarah, was staying with her grandmother for the summer. Over the last few months, Jamal had noticed small changes in Tasha. She seemed more protective of her phone, spent more time on her looks, and seemed distant in their conversations. After a simple dinner of Chinese takeout, during which Tasha spoke little, mostly about neighborhood gossip and her latest beauty product sales, Jamal headed to his home office. The room, once a spare bedroom, now held his laptop and security equipment. 3 months earlier, after the break-ins on Foster Drive, Jamal had installed a Lorix HD security camera in the hallway near the front door. The red LED light on the camera blinked steadily in the fading evening light, catching his eye. He connected his laptop to the security system and began going through the footage from his 2-week absence. The first clips showed routine things: Tasha leaving for beauty product demos, coming home with groceries, and getting the mail. She followed her usual schedule, leaving in the morning and returning in the afternoon. But as Jamal kept watching, something troubling appeared. The video showed Tasha opening the front door to a well-dressed man in his late 20s, wearing a navy suit and holding a leather briefcase. They shared a brief hug, not a formal greeting, but something more familiar and intimate. The man's face was partly visible. Devin D. Hines, a local real estate agent Jamal remembered from the neighborhood's 4th of July barbecue last year. The camera recorded them walking into the living room, their body language suggesting they were at ease with each other. Devin's hand casually rested on Tasha's back as they moved out of the camera's view. Jamal's hands shook as he replayed the footage. After watching it again, he saw that Devin had visited several times over the 2 weeks, staying for hours each time. The pattern was clear. These visits always happened on weekday afternoons when most neighbors were at work. Each time, Devin drove his black BMW 5 Series, parking it on the street instead of in the driveway. Devin, 28, had reconnected with Tasha, claiming he could help expand her beauty business by hosting property showings. As a successful agent at Red Stick Realty, Devin had made a name for himself with his persuasive sales tactics and strong networking skills. According to his company profile, he had closed $20 million in sales during the first half of 2024. His social media showed him as a rising star in Baton Rouge's real estate market, often sharing photos from luxury property showings and networking events. Jamal saved the video files to an external hard drive, organizing them carefully. His trucking log showed that during the times of these visits, he had been in Memphis delivering agricultural equipment. The realization that his wife had been entertaining another man in their home while he was 700 miles away made him feel physically sick. The footage revealed a clear picture of betrayal, one that explained the growing emotional gap between him and Tasha over the past few months. From the next room, Jamal could hear Tasha on the phone, speaking in low tones. The walls of their house, once filled with memories of shared dreams and accomplishments, now seemed to mock him with their hidden truths. The sound of her quiet laughter drifted through the walls, a sound that used to bring him happiness but now only stirred bitter suspicion. Tasha knocked on the office door, saying she was heading to bed. Jamal gave a short grunt in response, his eyes glued to the screen as he kept analyzing the footage, frame by frame, searching for more signs of his wife's betrayal. The security camera continued its watch, the red LED blinking steadily in the dark hallway, silently capturing more secrets within the Carter home. Unable to share a bed with Tasha after seeing the footage, Jamal retreated to his Peterbilt semi-truck, parked in the driveway. The truck's cabin, which he had spent countless nights in while on the road, now became a refuge from his crumbling marriage. The truck's sleeper compartment, with its small bed and basic amenities, offered him a temporary escape. Throughout the night, Jamal repeatedly accessed the security footage on his laptop, closely examining every detail of Devon's visits. The harsh blue glow of the Dell laptop illuminated the truck's cabin as he obsessively rewatched each encounter. His trucking logbook lay open beside him, its pages showing his absences during the times of Devon's visits: Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta. Each entry now a painful reminder of his wife's betrayal. Over the next 3 days, Jamal grew more suspicious of Tasha's behavior. She stuck to her routine of leaving the house, claiming she was attending beauty product demos and business meetings. Her Toyota Camry would vanish from the driveway for hours at a time. When Jamal asked where she had been, Tasha gave vague answers about networking events and client consultations. Her phone seemed glued to her hand, constantly buzzing with messages she quickly deleted. During one of Tasha's absences, Jamal installed a second Lorix HD camera in the living room. He positioned it carefully between the family photos and decorative items on a bookshelf, making sure the lens had a clear view of the beige microfiber couch and the large bay window facing the street. The placement required careful planning to avoid being discovered. He hid the power cable behind the bookshelf and adjusted the angle to cover as much of the room as possible while keeping the camera hidden. Jamal went over the older footage again, paying extra attention to Devon's visits. The real estate agent's confident air and expensive clothes, designer suits, Italian leather shoes, a Rolex watch screamed success and ambition. Jamal remembered the neighborhood barbecue where he first noticed Devon's interest in Tasha. At the time, he had brushed off the flirtation as harmless networking. Now, those memories took on a much darker meaning. The couch had been a wedding anniversary gift from Jamal to Tasha 3 years ago. The thought of it being the backdrop for their betrayal only fueled his anger. His mind replayed imagined scenes of their intimacy, each detail stoking his growing fury. The place that had once represented his hard work and dedication, built during his long hours on the road, now felt violated. As the storm raged outside, Jamal pulled up his trucking company's scheduling system on his laptop. His next route was a scheduled 4-day haul to Houston, Texas, starting the next afternoon. But instead of focusing on the usual numbers and routes, a different plan began to form in his mind. His years as a truck driver had taught him about momentum, impact, and how devastating a fully loaded semi-truck could be. On a hot July morning in 2024, Jamal told his wife he was heading out on the scheduled 4-day trip to Houston. He went through his usual pre-trip routine, checking his Peterbilt systems and loading supplies. Tasha barely looked up from her phone as he left, giving only a distracted goodbye. But instead of heading west toward Houston, Jamal drove his truck to an abandoned industrial lot on Choctaw Drive in East Baton Rouge, parking it between old warehouses. The lot, once home to a now-defunct manufacturing company, provided the perfect cover for his 18-wheeler. From there, Jamal set up a mobile surveillance station inside the truck. He connected his laptop to both security cameras using a 4G mobile hotspot, allowing him to watch his home in real time. The setup included the hallway camera and the newly installed living room camera, giving him a clear view of the house's main areas. For 2 days, Jamal kept an eye on Tasha's routine through the feeds. She stuck to her usual schedule of beauty product demos and running errands, frequently checking her phone and making calls in the privacy of their bedroom. His suspicions were confirmed when he saw Devon's black BMW 5 Series pull up on Foster Drive. Jamal watched through the high-definition feed as Tasha greeted Devon at the door. She was wearing a black cocktail dress he hadn't seen before, while Devon showed up in his signature navy suit, carrying a bottle of wine and a leather briefcase. The living room camera captured their every move, Tasha and Devon settling on the anniversary couch, sharing wine from the crystal glasses reserved for special occasions. The surveillance footage showed Tasha and Devon getting closer as the evening went on. They shared laughs, their bodies inching toward each other on the couch. When Devon leaned in to kiss Tasha, she eagerly responded, confirming Jamal's worst fears about their relationship. The betrayal played out in vivid detail on his laptop screen, the high-definition camera capturing every touch and movement. Jamal's grip tightened on the truck's steering wheel, his wedding ring catching the dim light of the cabin. The isolation of the industrial lot matched how he felt inside as he watched his marriage fall apart on the screen. His truck's diesel engine roared to life, the familiar vibration now carrying a darker purpose. As Jamal navigated Baton Rouge's evening traffic, he drove toward Foster Drive. His phone, mounted on the dashboard, continued streaming the security footage. Seeing Tasha and Devin share intimate moments in his home in the space he had worked so hard to build solidified his resolve. The weight of his fully loaded trailer only strengthened his determination. When Jamal turned onto Foster Drive, he carefully positioned his Peterbilt for maximum impact. The truck's powerful engine roared through the quiet neighborhood, its headlights lighting up the familiar front of 122 Foster Drive. Through the bay window, he could see the scene matching the footage, Tasha and Devin, unaware of the approaching danger, still enjoying their evening on the couch. The security cameras continued their watch as Jamal revved the engine one final time. The sound of the engine echoed through the street, drawing curious glances from nearby windows. Tasha and Devin looked up at the noise, their faces shifting from confusion to terror as they realized the unmistakable sound of his semi-truck. With the precision only years of professional driving could bring, Jamal calculated the distance and angle. His foot hovered over the accelerator, and with one final decision, he pressed down hard. The truck's engine, powerful and relentless, was now his weapon. The Peterbilt surged down Foster Drive, its engine roaring as the 80,000-pound vehicle gathered speed. At exactly 8:45 p.m., the truck collided with the front of 122 Foster Drive. The impact focused on the living room where Tasha and Devin were seated. The collision destroyed the house's front wall. The truck's massive grille, designed to push through highway debris, acted like a battering ram, shattering the wooden frame and the bay window. The beige microfiber couch, once a symbol of better times, was crushed under the truck's chrome bumper. The security cameras caught the final moments before being destroyed in the crash, their feed turning to static on Jamal's phone. The impact triggered a devastating chain reaction in the house. Support beams snapped like twigs, and the second floor collapsed into the living room, adding to the destruction. The truck's momentum carried it 15 feet into the house before it finally came to a halt, its engine still running amid the chaos. Emergency calls flooded the Baton Rouge Police Department's dispatch center. Neighbors reported hearing the crash echo through the quiet neighborhood. The impact set off several car alarms along Foster Drive, their sirens blending with the screams of startled residents rushing outside. Jamal Carter calmly emerged from the truck's cab. His work boots crunched on broken glass and shattered drywall as he surveyed the wreckage. The living room, once a symbol of their home, had turned into a graveyard of twisted metal and broken furniture. Dust and smoke from the damaged electrical wires filled the air, a haze lit by the truck's still-burning headlights. Tasha Carter and Devin Hines lay motionless under the rubble. Tasha's black cocktail dress and Devin's navy suit were covered in white dust from the collapsed ceiling. The wine bottle and shattered glasses lay near their bodies, the red wine mixing with other fluids on the floor. Mark Davidson, the neighbor at 120 Foster Drive, was the first to reach the scene. A retired paramedic, he quickly checked for signs of life but found none. Other neighbors stood at a safe distance, filming the aftermath while waiting for emergency services. Patricia Thompson from across the street could be heard screaming into her phone, giving the dispatcher details about the crash. Jamal calmly walked to the curb and sat down, placing his hands on his knees. His body language showed no panic or regret as he waited for the police. His trucking company ID badge still hung from his shirt pocket, the plastic reflecting the flashing lights of the approaching emergency vehicles. The first responders arrived at 9:05 p.m. Officer James Martinez of the Baton Rouge Police Department found Jamal sitting exactly where he had been, still maintaining his unnerving composure. When asked for identification, Jamal silently handed over his commercial driver's license. The officer noted in his report that Jamal's hands were steady as he handed over the document. Moments later, the Baton Rouge Fire Department arrived, their trucks flashing red and white lights across the scene. Fire Chief Robert Wells immediately called for structural engineers to assess the building's safety before recovery efforts could begin. The house, which had stood for decades on Foster Drive, was now a horrific mess of destruction, its front torn apart, exposing the tragic scene inside. As Jamal was handcuffed and read his Miranda rights, neighbors gathered in small groups discussing what they had witnessed. The sight of the respected truck driver being placed in the back of a police cruiser added another shock to the already traumatic evening. The semi-truck remained embedded in the house, its engine silent, while emergency personnel worked to secure the area and start their investigation into the deadly crash on Foster Drive. Jamal's trial began at the 19th Judicial District Court in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, drawing national media attention. District Attorney Michael Anderson led the prosecution, while veteran defense attorney Thomas Wright represented Jamal. Judge Sarah Matthews presided over the high-profile case, which packed the courtroom with journalists, local residents, and family members of both victims. The prosecution's case focused on the security camera footage from the Carter residence. Digital forensics expert Dr. James Morrison testified about the sophisticated surveillance system Jamal had set up, stressing how it pointed to the premeditated nature of the crime. The footage clearly showed Jamal watching the victims in real time before the attack, with timestamps matching his phone records and the truck's GPS data. District Attorney Anderson also presented evidence from Jamal's internet search history, showing queries about Louisiana homicide laws and the impact speeds of commercial trucks. The prosecution argued that these searches, along with Jamal's deliberate detour from his scheduled route to Houston, showed clear premeditation. The truck's maintenance records confirmed it was in perfect condition, ruling out any mechanical failure. The defense focused on Jamal's emotional state, bringing in psychiatrist Dr. Elena Rodriguez to testify about the severe psychological trauma caused by his wife's infidelity. Attorney Wright painted Jamal as a hard-working provider who put in 70-hour work weeks to support his family only to have his trust shattered. The defense also emphasized Jamal's flawless 20-year driving record and the safety awards he had received from his trucking company. Witnesses offered differing views of the Carter marriage. Patricia Thompson, their neighbor for 8 years, described Jamal as quiet but always helpful, recalling how he would assist elderly neighbors with yard work. But Mary Sullivan, Tasha's closest friend, testified that Jamal had a controlling side, often checking Tasha's phone and questioning her whereabouts. Devin Hines' professional reputation became a key issue. Colleagues from Red Stick Realty spoke about Devin's history of pursuing relationships with married clients, citing 3 complaints that had been filed against him with the real estate board. The defense used this information to support their claim that Devin had seduced Tasha, but Judge Matthews limited this line of questioning. The most dramatic moment in the trial came when Sarah Carter, Jamal and Tasha's teenage daughter, testified via video link from her grandmother's house. Sarah described her father as loving but becoming more paranoid in the months leading up to the murders. Her testimony about finding hidden cameras in their home visibly affected several members of the jury. After 8 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for 6 hours before reaching a verdict. They found Jamal Carter guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder. During sentencing, Judge Matthews addressed Jamal directly, acknowledging the emotional pain of infidelity, but stating that his calculated response showed a chilling disregard for human life. The sentence was handed down on October 17, 2024. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. Jamal showed no emotion as the sentence was read, keeping the same stoic expression he had since the night of the murders. The verdict brought little peace to the families involved. Devin Hines' parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Jamal Carter, while Tasha's family struggled to cope with their grief, especially with the affair being exposed publicly. The house at 122 Foster Drive remained empty, its damaged structure standing as a somber reminder of the tragedy until it was demolished the following year. The security cameras that had uncovered his wife's infidelity ended up being the very evidence that sealed Jamal's fate in the criminal justice system. The tragic story of Jamal Carter shows how betrayal can lead to irreversible consequences. In the pursuit of justice, it's clear that emotions, when left unchecked, can drive people to make devastating decisions. While Jamal's actions can never be justified, they highlight the extreme impact of broken trust and the emotional turmoil that follows. This case serves as a reminder of the importance of communication and trust in relationships. Betrayal, whether emotional or physical, can have far-reaching consequences for everyone involved. It's a powerful lesson about how deeply personal issues can spiral into something far more destructive if not addressed. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on the case. How do you think trust and betrayal impact relationships? We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more real-life stories and deep dives.